What up? What up? What up, world? We are back. I'm Anthony, aka Rasta. This is Get Right Fantasy Network. I'm here with my boy Classic Mike. How you doing, Mike?
What up? More
And
importantly, how's this guy right here? Oh,
we
I'm
got a
so
special
excited.
guest in the house tonight. We got Big Travy here from the Fantasy Whispers. What's up, Travy? How you doing tonight?
Oh man, it's a beautiful Friday evening. We are just bitching about how hot it is in our respective areas, so it must be the
Yeah.
summer. Everybody bitches and
It is
complains for
hot.
summer, and then it gets hot, and we all complain, and then we'll complain about the winter. But no
Oh no, we will
complaining.
not. I will not complain about the winter.
Well, that's a very classic thing for you to say, Mike. You're very on brand. So
Classic.
yeah, you did it well. But yeah, I'm good, man. We've got, as we'll talk about tonight, we've got real football. I had the Hall of Fame game last night. We've got training camps fully underway, and yeah, it's been it's an amazing time to be alive, boys. Thanks
It's
for having me.
Time to roll those sleeves up. I'm excited, man.
Yes. And
We are
because it's
here. Yeah, and because it's hot. Very well said. Very classic. That's again another classic move from
Yeah.
Classic Mike. All right, man. So let's get into it, man. Tonight we have the first semifinal round of our mock draft tournament of champions. It is back for the second year. For those of you guys who don't know, we've been running mock drafts all week, Monday through Thursday. There's one qualifier round each week, each night. And then the top three from each of those drafts are going to come in here tonight on the semifinal round to battle it out. So we have the top three from those. These next 4 Fridays, we'll move on to September 2nd for a championship mock, which will actually be a best ball league. And we're going to actually play it out. Those guys will have a chance to win $50 cash. It's going to be fun. We're here, and I'm excited to get this mock going.
Hell yeah. I had to adjust a couple things. So
You
keep
random it up?
talking. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll tell you.
Well,
So
I
ahead,
wanted to
Trav.
ask something, Anthony, since you're on the topic of this whole deal. First of all, well, it looks like, am I seeing this? There's the 10 spots open. Are we trying to get somebody in there?
No, he's whenever you randomize and
It kicks somebody out.
yeah.
Oh, that's annoying. I wanted to ask
is.
Anthony,
Oh,
how
good.
many people you end up having in this thing that end up drafting total?
Yeah, so basically you can enter one time per week. So we try to get, as many people as we can. So, that's up to 48 people that can enter in 1 week. That'll all have a, chance to get into this Friday, kind of semi-final round.
And when's the championship? The all the marbles. When will that be?
That'll be Friday, September 2nd.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll
So
throw
all the
everybody
top
into-
three from all the semifinal rounds will then move on. So
Awesome.
again, I just want to put it out there. These top three that were picked here, that are in this draft, it's all purely subjective. This is a consensus. We have like a little point system that we do. It's the 4 of us here on Get Right, myself, Mike, Frank, and Dustin. We all just pick our top 3. It's not based on projections or anything like that. It's just purely, whatever we feel the top 6 teams are. We have 4 different opinions on how we feel teams should be built, players that we're high and low on. So between the 4 of us, it gets interesting. We've had teams that we pick as our number 1 team that don't even get in the top 3 because of how the consensus, scoring works that we put together. So, it's all subjective. We're here to have fun. But again, these are the guys who've made it. So we're going to get this thing underway.
Yes,
Hell
sir.
yeah, man.
Let's get it moving. And actually, let's mention some of the people that are in here because we have quite a few heavy hitters in here. We got Shane. I love Shane. If you haven't met Shane, make sure you guys check him out. I'm going to turn that off. Shane is in Debbie leagues. He's in every league you can possibly think of, but his specialty is Debbie leagues. So he does a really good job there. We got FFT AJ. How you doing, brother? He's on the
Fantasy Frontline.
There we go. Fantasy Frontline. Just had a show with him on Thursday. Had a great time with him. We got a very special guest that is going to be mocking with us in the 3 hole. This is Dem Boys Jr. This is Junior, not Dem Boys. This is Dem Boys Jr. Look at dad. Look at dad
beat out his own dad.
Son.
Yeah.
Oh,
Beat out his own dad.
And he beat out his own dad, which is fantastic.
It was awesome, man.
I'm not going to tell you guys how old he is, but he is definitely younger than most of these guys here. So he will be. This is going to be fun. This is going to be fun.
Definitely.
So
he's going to school all these old heads tonight.
Oh my!
For sure.
I
it's
hope
the new
so.
age thinking, right? It's the new age thinking.
We got our ambassador Wilson in the 4-hole. Thank you, Wilson, for all you do, my friend. We got Rafi Bomb, still probably one of my favorite usernames in this whole thing. CD's nuts. I mean, come on, man. I like that one too, but it's like,
yeah, I was gonna say, like, you said that was your favorite, and then CD's nuts is like, I'm gonna say, like, that might be the winner now.
Maybe, right? But you know what? I'm just, I like the Rafi Bomb thing. He definitely takes the Rafi persona and runs with it. He's a retired, I think he's a retired Marine. If I'm not, sorry, he's a former Marine or is a Marine, just not active. So he's a wonderful guy. I like him a lot. In the 7th hole, we got FF Bourbon Dude. What up? He's on which podcast, Rasta?
I can't remember it off the top of my head, but drop it in the chat.
Okay, yeah. If you're watching there, FF, drop it in. We
should have that ready on our show notes. See, we're ill prepared there.
Yeah, we're very ill prepared. Then we got we got FF Tycoon in the house, and I'm not going through all his AKs and he's
just AKA,
AKA everything. Jesus Christ. We got Calbeck in the house.
OG. One of our original subscribers. He's one of the 4 horsemen, one of our original 4 subscribers in the house representing.
I like that. The 4 horsemen.
Yeah, we have
Give
our
me a little bit of
4.
a flashback.
I apologize. He is Army. My apologies. He's not.
FF Tycoon is part of the FF Boardroom podcast.
Correct. Yes. And then we have Spitta in the 10th spot, as well as the FF Formula, who is, by the way, at a bachelor party drafting tonight.
In the semifinal round.
Another dedication here. You remember last year we had one of the guys drafting at a ZZ Top concert?
Yeah.
Remember that?
That was awesome.
Dedication, my friend.
We appreciate it.
Oh yeah. And he did well too. He didn't mess up or anything. And then of course, one of my favorites, we actually got him for Trav. He doesn't know this, but we actually had him change, or he changed his his username because we kept saying Lord of Fanta, even though it was Lord of what was it? Lord of Fantasy. Yeah.
But it cut off, so we couldn't see the Y on it when he drafted with us. So we called him, Lord of Fanta.
Now see that's some brand loyalty right there.
Yeah, no, he went with it and changed the avatar and everything. So
he's
running
with it.
It's just awesome, man. We appreciate it. Again, another one of the originals, man. He's been with us for a long time. So it's no coincidence to see him here either.
So
he knows what we like.
I hope FF Formula is like listening to us live right now and can give us updates on the bachelor party. Look, I know usually it's supposed to stay there, but let us live a little vicariously through you right now. Tell us, are you in between a stripper right now? What's going on? Are you making a pick in between some cheeks right now? Let us know.
That would be epic.
We need to know
and
this.
You might win just because of that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, some of you guys are lucky that they gave me no power to pick anybody tonight because we're going to have
you pick, but we're not going to have you pick to actually win.
Yeah, exactly. We'll tell you that's what it's going to be, but it won't be that. Yeah,
but it's not.
Makes sense.
No, we'll definitely have you involved with some type of picking, but not in the context that, if he says you're going to win, it doesn't mean you're going to win.
Let it be known right now.
Yeah, just full disclosure.
Mike wants to rip me of all power right now. He says,
might as well. Just take away all hope from them. They got to rely on just me, Rasta, Dustin, and Frank. That's it. We got to strip all hope away.
Yeah. When we do things like we were giving away some raffle tickets, fake raffle tickets for the listener league. And I just like to emulate the whose line is it anyways? The points don't matter. We just make this shit up as we go.
Right. Right.
It's fun when you're talking about a fake game made up about another game. Like you just kind of get get loose with it. It's a little
And
fun.
you know what? Sweet
That's
and
what we're here
Salty, that was probably the last episode I saw with Sweet and Salty. I just could not stop laughing.
Oh yeah, that was a riot. That was a good time. And
you're like, oh.
And it is legit one of our guys'
yeah.
girlfriends. And you know, he's like every day hustling, like, we need a woman in this league. And I agree.
Yeah.
But I want to give a fair shot to everybody that's in the raffle. But he is just hustling hard for her. He's trying to, exactly. Scott's girlfriend. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just a fun episode that I always get to enjoy watching you guys and being a part of it. And that episode, I couldn't stop laughing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I want to bring something up real quick. I just want to say again, thank you for having us, man, on your mockathon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I want you to tell our audience, a little bit about it. How long you guys been doing it, what it is, and again, we'll tell our experience of it as well. But go ahead, take the floor for a second, because that was amazing.
Yeah, first of all, I just want to thank you guys, because it's not like we gave you some pristine hour to come on.
Thanks,
the problem, the good problem that we have is this just ends up filling up faster than we can, imagine, and then it's a good problem to have. So humble brag there, but what it is we do a 24-hour live stream on YouTube. It's broken up into 6 4-hour blocks. We go live for 24 straight hours, mock drafting once every hour. We try to bring a new guest or guests on each hour. And we started off 4 years ago. This was the 4th annual. And it was an absolute blast. And, when we got started in this thing, we basically were in a league of record. We'd get in the off season and just continuously, religiously talk fantasy, even in a redraft league during the, dog days of the off season. Mm-hmm. And we said, why not, start this up? But we started it, with the idea of like all of our boys from the league would run this thing with us. Okay. The problem is, people don't have all the same dream, obviously. So then you get into that. But what we knew out of it is we wanted community. And I think that's the beautiful thing that the mock draft marathon or Scott Fishbowl or this, your guys' championship, month-long event that you do, it's all about community. It's all about reaching out, grabbing the, brothers and sisters next to you that are out there in this industry and trying to, build each other up. And I just feel so fortunate to be following a dream in this kind of space. Yeah, because it is really well received, and people, go out of their way, like you guys, busting your ass to come on at like 3 a.m. with us in this thing. 4 a.m. Yeah. Well, it just depends on where you're at, Yeah, it was 1 a.m. for me. Yeah, exactly. Fun. See, you were time traveling, Mike. That's what it was. Yeah, dude, you were ahead of us.
See, of all things, and to be really honest, I'm used to it. Like me and Rasta, literally this is new to us. We're we're growing, and we've been doing this for the last year. And during the year, in season, me and Rasta will be here from 12 a.m. to 4 a.m. breaking down all the teams, all the games, all the everything, start, sit, you name it. So for me, 4 o'clock isn't the worst thing in the world on a Saturday morning. It's one of those things where you have to it's different because you're not you're not doing anything from 12 to 4. So you have to find sleep. And I tried so hard.
Yeah. Well, it was like, even in your segment, you guys' segment started my break, and I'm supposed to be trying to like nap or rip a nap in there real quick.
I saw you in there doing stuff.
Yeah. I had to chat and like hang out. It's just like, it's such an event, but yeah, we all know we're in this, we're in this industry. We grind, but you got to be grateful for your grind to be this instead of, a real life grind,
I
which
agree.
At this point in our, journey on this, we're all still doing both, so it's even more of a grind. So that's the other part of this is, I've worked, a couple of years ago, I've worked shifts right up until the marathon, did the marathon, got off, worked another shift. I mean, last year I did it so much, I worked myself sick, lost my voice 3/4 of the way through the marathon. So it was a real blast to actually get through it this year, champion through it. And yeah, if you guys want to just follow us on YouTube, it's the Fantasy Whisperers. Search for that on YouTube. And we, these boys are always welcome and always over there helping us out. And this will be a partnership that I'm glad bloomed this off season, and we'll just continue to work with each other and have fun. Like I said when we came on, man, get to talk ball. What's better than that, man?
Nothing, man. Nothing.
Oh no.
It's always good bringing someone else. You know, Mike and I are always arguing against each other all the time. So
Yeah,
nice
I'll
to have
argue with
someone
you.
in the middle. You know, yeah, it's,
Which is
get a
fine.
different argument.
It's a
going
good
on.
argument, though.
Well, I feel like I get my fair share of arguing with Mike via the chat sometimes. He's,
Right?
I mean,
Isn't that fun?
I what I love about Mike is you got convictions, man. You believe something, you say it with your chest, and it's a beautiful thing, man.
You live with it. Yeah, you live with the result. But that's what it's all about, man. And being able to say, hey, I was wrong on that, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'll definitely be the one to say that it's wrong.
Yeah.
I said it last year with Troutman and Gaskin, very loud and proud. I know I was wrong. And,
yeah, for me, it's Mixon and Cooks, you know?
Yeah.
Like him around and
you'll be saying it with Gesicki this year, too. Yeah. It seems to be a theme with these tight ends for you.
Oh, no,
so that's
tight
fine.
ends is always going to –
You had to pick the most volatile position, but yeah.
I know, but for some reason, I've always I've enjoyed the position because they have to do so much compared to most of others. Now, some wide receivers can block, but they're not as good at blocking and they're not as good as being a part of it. They kind of just do the little hip check and like leave you alone. Tight ends are in there. I love George Kittle in the context of how he plays. Do I love him in fantasy? Of course, but unfortunately, he has like all the injury issues that it's because of how physical he is. So, you know, guys like that, I don't know. For some reason, I find it interesting to, you know, those guys they're always forgotten. So I like to keep them kind of more at the forefront. One of my favorite guys ever is Mark Bavaro. You know, like the way he played, the way he was such an underrated tight end that's not really even thought about when you think about tight ends and, you know, how good, you know, the past and all that, you know, everyone goes.
Mike, I hear you, man, but I want to score points, man. Like
I agree.
I hear you, and I love it, and I love the technical stuff, and I'll even give you like, I bet you were one of those guys, you know, the Rams Patriots Super Bowl a few years back, and everybody's bitching about it, you know, and you're like, dude, that was awesome. Defensive battle.
It was actually.
Yeah, exactly. That makes sense.
Classic.
Defense. I want defense to win. I want the course to win in golf. I want all the things that, like, I don't want to see, you know, 18 over. You know, I want to see +2 on every outing, like every major. Like, I don't want to see these guys do well. I suck at golf. Okay, let me be fair. I'm not horrible at golf, but at the same time, it's one of those things where I want to feel like these guys are actually bad. You know, that's all. Like I want to see them struggle. I want to see them,
I always say it takes a lot of balls to golf like I do, you know? So. Literally takes so many balls.
That's funny. And
now, the chat's been blowing out. And
we're just having too good of a time, man. You guys.
We should talk a little bit about this Josh Jacobs stuff. I think that was a question in from Emil.
He just went off the board right here to Calbeck. Perfect time. Go ahead.
So what do you?
What's the deal? Yeah. What's the deal?
Well, I just think we don't get this a lot where we have a new coaching staff come in. We have projections about that coaching staff because of the way it was. And in McDaniels, we say, oh, he's with the Patriots. He's probably going to do a committee. They bring in Amir Abdullah. They retain Kenyon Drake.
Yep.
He even brought in Brandon Bolden. Now, I think that's probably special teams related, but then they draft 2 running backs. And Josh Jacobs, they don't pick up his option. And then we go and we see in the game last night that Jacobs is getting run, you know, not just the first series, but the second series.
Yeah.
And to me, you know, Emil's asking, like, how high are you guys? I couldn't get lower now after last night. And I was already low. So I don't want it to be like I'm this sensationalist guy coming in watching 1-2 series. But Jacobs shouldn't have been in that game. If Jacobs is going to be a feature back or even a back that leads the backfield, why is he in that game for more than one series? You know, and it reeks of something like this regime doesn't necessarily want Jacobs. And basically probably said something like, Jacobs, if you want to be here, go play in the preseason game, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, man, dude, like
showcase.
And we've seen this before, right? With a Patriots organization where Sony Michel gets run and then gets dealt to the Rams. Yeah. So that's another thing to think about as well. That was a good point you brought up there, Anthony, that it's definitely like could be showcasing our guy Jacobs here for a trade, which would make a lot of sense. And Zamir White, that's the name I would be talking about. Yeah. You know, every year we get something. Ramondre Stevenson was kind of the guy last year. He didn't really fully break out, But
No.
the name, the Fantasy Whispers, I got to give a shout out to our guy, Johnny Game Time Hicks, comes from him whispering in my ear, Alvin Kamara's rookie year. Hey, check out Kamara.
Nice.
At our draft, and I go pick him up. Now my dumbass traded him away, but either way, that's where the name originated, and it's just like about
cool.
this. If you look at Mahomes, I'm trying to spin this into a case for preseason here. If you look at Mahomes before he started that first year, we were worried about Tyreek Hill. I don't know if you guys remember. He was the gadgety player. We didn't know if he could be a full wide receiver. They had a 70-yard play action bomb against Atlanta in the preseason that totally changed my entire perception on Tyreek Hill. And since then, it's been gangbusters, obviously, for him. So there's stuff to be had in this preseason. We forget that, and we get, I'm all over it. So
yeah, I mean, I saw, the one thing that I noticed, which is small, but Kenyon Drake ended up leaving with a decent hand injury. He came off to the side. You saw him just holding his hand, and it didn't look good. So, this definitely gives a little bit. It
was on like a kickoff, wasn't it?
Something like that. I just saw him get like someone hit him wrong, or he was, they were untangling it. I don't know. I just remember him coming up with, limp with his hand, and he was trying to figure out a way. Like, I don't know. They were trying to fix him up. So for Zamir White, I mean, I really like this kid. He had good burst, but he's going to be a PPR freaking gold mine because they just used him. That's, if you look at his stats, that's all he had was just little 3-yard passes that he turned into something.
Well, that's interesting. I didn't watch the full game. I ended up, we had a show last night, and then also I came off and had a long conversation with my partner because she was asking about Deshaun Watson, which is funny. We were talking about Deshaun Watson before this. But
actually, I had the same conversation too.
Yeah, it's she's like, do they really only suspend him 6 games? And I'm like, well, it's not quite over yet, so we'll see what happens. But either ways, what I did do is check the box score, obviously, and I saw exactly what you said, that Zamir White was getting used in the passing game. And that's what I wanted to see. Because I know that coming into the game, the hot Dynasty, heads were on Snoop Connor for this game. And it was kind of like a whatever performance from a, undrafted, rookie. That's going to happen. But Zamir White was the one that was interesting because he was the best recruit in the nation, if I'm not mistaken, out of high school into college, and then tore both of his ACLs.
Both of them,
And so we haven't really seen him kind of regain that kind of stature, but he's been productive enough, and I think it'll be interesting to see enough that a guy who's really good at using several backs in Josh McDaniels, they pulled the trigger. I would love him if we got, the Drake injury, maybe an Amir Abdullah injury. Some of these other things need to add up because there's just so many guys, so many bodies, maybe a trade by Josh Jacobs. But I think in Dynasty, I'm all over, stashing him, trading for him, all that kind of stuff. I think he's somebody to keep a close eye on.
Buy low if you can. I mean, even if he just is a nice mid RB2, if you can get him nice and low.
Exactly.
That's still a good deal. You could
you probably got him low. So, you got to just be happy with what you saw from one game, obviously. But you got to be happy.
It was the Jags.
Right.
Well, and it was the second team Jags, and
and that's the thing.
They were mixed in with some first team.
Part of what Collinsworth was saying on the game last night, it was a contrasting take to what I've heard, but he was in on their line, on the Raiders line.
Yeah, they look good. They look okay.
But then I was like, that's what he was saying. He's like, they look good, and I'm just thinking like, well, yeah, they're playing the Jags like second and third team, like.
Yeah. But that's another conversation.
I mean, I feel like we get classic Mike out there at nose tackle, and
I can still do it.
Yeah.
No, I mean, but at the same time, you also think about it, and Trevor Lawrence second. I was listening to Jeff Manns this afternoon while I was driving, and he's he was saying, like, Trevor Lawrence, you're not proven. Like, Derek Carr has worked his ass off. He's gotten to the point where he doesn't need to play today. Devontae Adams is on the sideline. If you guys didn't notice, there was one part that I saw that he was literally coaching up every other wide receiver. Like, they showed him on the guy, like, they just saw him going, like, 4 route, like, go this, like, trying to do this extra work. And for me, I love seeing that from my wide receiver, especially my, the guy I just paid to be there. But at the end of the day, they didn't have Trevor Lawrence playing on the Jags, like not even getting a series. Like I would think that they wanted to have one series with the first team.
Probably
and be
the
like,
next time.
no, understood. They have 4 games compared to everybody having 3. I completely get that. Then why the hell did you have Justin Jacobs other than, Josh Jacobs, other than what you guys are saying that maybe they're showcasing him? It didn't seem like that from Josh McDaniel's mouth. They had one of the beat writers for Las Vegas I was listening to, and he said he just got off a call with McDaniels, and they basically were like, we love all 4 of these guys, all 5 of these guys, whoever they are. We just want to run them and see what we got going. And I'm like,
Coach speak.
agreed. I'm just saying, like, he's just, I get it. I get why he's doing that, but we didn't really see anything from the Jags. The only other thing that we did see is who's their wide receiver 3, and that for the Las Vegas Raiders. And it just seems to like the big guy getting talked up is Tyron Johnson. He looked good, for the brief period and getting thrown to by a third QB in Mullins and, okay, or Stidham, whoever it was. End of the day, he actually looked okay. So, I mean, do you guys think that he might have a role at one point? Is he someone that you should maybe throw a dart at in the 15th or no? Yes.
No, I think unfortunately, well, actually, fortunately, because I've warmed to the idea that the Raiders' passing attack is actually just going to be so consolidated that all 3 of those dudes, being Waller, Renfro, and Adams, can eat.
Yep.
And if that's the case, there's literally going to be. Plus, they have the backs. They're going to definitely work in. I know Ron's talking about Abdullah not being a factor, and I'm not saying Abdullah is going to be, but he will take passing down work if he's healthy.
Oh yeah, they will.
They'll work him in. And so that being said, I think it's so consolidated, and when it's consolidated, that's nice. Think of Minnesota all these years. We've known where the targets are going, and when we know where they're going, we can act on that. So I've really warmed to the idea over the offseason, drafting a bunch, and really warmed to the idea that I even like Renfro. I know that a lot of his production came from Waller being out, but I think that there's something to say that this offense could be a lot better. And it was already a pretty good offense last year. And in that division, I mean, we all know it. There's going to be a ton of shootouts there. We can see it. Vegas can see it. They're saying it. And so, yeah, I'm kind of in on those guys. And so to answer your question, I just don't see I don't see a lot of room. The one guy I think you'll probably like this, Mike, in Dynasty or in deeper situations, like Foster Moreau's a guy.
I like Foster. Yeah.
Because of the dual tight end situation, he's got contingency value if Waller were to go down. This is obviously deeper league, maybe multiple flexes or even Dynasty watch, being on, because Waller isn't that young. He started late in his career.
He's 29.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Foster Moreau I like Foster Moreau in general. He's just a gritty tight end. I remember I watched some stupid thing that I think Will Compton did. And he went to tight end U and, running around talking to all the tight ends. And he goes up to Darren Waller. He's like, who's the one tight end that you wouldn't let date your daughter? First guy he said was Foster Moreau. And I just laughed. And then he asked other people he asked other tight ends and they all said Foster Moreau. I just started laughing because, he just seems like a cool, relaxed dude. I just thought it was funny. A lot of them said Travis Kelce, but I won't get into that too. But so
yeah, Travis Kelce makes a lot of sense as somebody I wouldn't let date my daughter.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I don't even have a daughter, but I can just tell you.
Yeah, I can just say
already.
Yeah. No.
So we already kind of brought it up.
Oh my God, Ray W says Hernandez. Oh man, that's funny.
Too soon.
Still. Yeah.
So we kind of already brought this up, and we have to just quickly talk about this. We all know what's going on with Deshaun Watson in the context that Sue Robinson gave him the 6-game suspension. NFL is now appealing it. The NFLPA responded to the appeal today. So everything is in kind of order of everything that they know. The timeline, we still don't know, but seems to be like this will, kind of go quickly, hopefully. There's a lot going on here. They had New Jersey's Attorney General Peter Harvey appointed, or a former New Jersey Attorney General Peter Harvey assigned to take care of this case or to look at it. right now, the NFL has said multiple times they want a full season. They want a monetary fine in some shape, way, or form. That this is what they want. I do talk to a couple of Cleveland fans that I know. One is Kyle Letterman, who we've actually had on the show before. He has a really close source with the Browns that they think that it's going to be 10 games with a fine. I kind of agree with him. For me, I feel like this is kind of I wouldn't say a negotiation tactic, but it's a way to negotiate to get what the NFL is looking for. If you show strength in the context of I want this now, like I want more than what Sue wanted, at least it shows they're doing something. And I think at the end of the day, they don't want to get sued and have all their dirty laundry, aired out. And I think that they will kind of bring it back and do something, around the lines of 10 games and hopefully a substantial monetary, fine, because Jesus Christ, guy got $230 million for guaranteed for the next 5 years. They should definitely take something. So I don't know. I don't want to get into the context of all the crap that's involved with him. Let's just go into the context that let's just say it's anywhere between 6 to 10 games. Do you still find
I think you
him?
have to say 6 to a year. I mean, I honestly still think that's on the table.
Yeah, I do think it's on the table too. I think anything's on the table from 6 to him playing for the first part of the year.
Right.
Remember that when
that was going to be my
Zeke's
other part.
case went to federal court, he played for I think 3 or 4 weeks and then was suspended.
Well, and that's my other part is if this were to happen, because they have the ability to what's it called, the order of protection that they can do, and he can still play for at least he could play weeks 1 through 4, but then they can get him the 10 games after that, or for the season after, or whatever. So how do you feel about and now we're just going to switch to the fantasy part. Now that we know that big part of it, how do you guys feel about the concept of actually drafting Watson as a potential person to help you with your league?
I'm staying away. That's all I have to say about it.
Yeah, it just really depends.
Until we know more. I mean, if you're drafting today, I'm not touching them.
Yeah, like in redraft, it's hard to suggest. Like if you're playing in one managed league, it's hard, or even like 2 or 3 managed leagues, it's hard to suggest Watson. You'd basically say, hey, I would want you to go quarterback late, probably like, but the latest I think you could go and feel comfortable is like Cousins, and like, because at least for me, maybe Fields, maybe you could make the case for Fields, but then, I don't really love that situation.
Yeah.
And so then it's like, I got to pair it and then I got to roster him for however long, and you could just throw a pick away. But to be fair, if it's 6 games and maybe even if it's 10, you're going to get rocket fuel down the stretch to make the playoffs and then in the playoffs out of Watson on a stacked roster with a pretty good shootout schedule. So, and we'll see if they were to add anybody. I don't know. It really depends. Hopefully we get it sooner rather than later for that reason. And really, hopefully we get, some justice in whatever form that happens, the truth comes out and we get, my biggest thing, and not to get back into this.
No, you're fine.
But Mike, you were talking about like, I forget what you were saying, but it was basically made me think it's like, oh yeah, like all this other stuff. Like it wasn't a fine. She didn't impose a fine. And look, I don't want it to be like, I don't want Sue Robinson to be represented as a puppet here, because I know people have said that
I don't
online.
think so.
Or no, yeah, and I don't. I'm not saying you're saying that. Or as someone that was light. If you read her conclusion, she said, "Look, the NFL doesn't get away with trying to be like virtue signaling, basically saying, hey, now all of a sudden we care. Your policy doesn't cover this.
Yes.
Yeah, it's terrible. Yes. Rework it, and then you can have the guns to do it." And so that's what I want to be known out of this. And so she said, look, based on what we have and precedent, like this is what I have to do. And then, there's all sorts of stuff. We could go, I think, for hours on this. But
I will say, I completely agree. And that was part of what I was going to go into, is that Sue did a wonderful job with what she did. She definitely ripped the NFL for what they did as much as she ripped Deshaun Watson for what he did. And at the end of the day, honestly, this is unprecedented in the context of how much and the quantity and so on and so forth. So the NFL hasn't gotten this. So unfortunately, they have to kind of react.
I told my partner, I said, you know what the NFL should do, but they won't do this because it's all about, their image. If they focused on actually making it right, they would take the L right now on Watson, and it would look horrible and shitty, and they wouldn't get it. And then rework the policy to cover these kind of things. Not these kind of things. Hopefully nothing like this happens again, but just have a better policy that has better language. Right now it's so vague and ridiculous. And, they lived off a year. Yeah, they lived off of years of just doing whatever the hell they wanted.
Well, they did this with Ray Rice too, where they didn't have anything in the policy, and then all of a sudden they're reacting to it, and then it's a big reaction thing. Now, I work in quality assurance. Like my job, I work with intellectually disabled adults. That I work in quality assurance, where we're trying to be as proactive as possible for their care. So instead of trying to, we don't want to be reactive. We want to be able to have this ability to be, get in front of it. I understand that they can't really get in front of it, but they always have to think in the worst case scenario when they have all these people, the young kids getting all this. Like, you have to remember who your audience is. So you have to cover all bases if you can. And if they can fix this policy, it would be great. So I'm hoping that that helps, and I hope that they are able to. So
it'll be interesting though. It'll be very interesting to see how it goes.
Yeah. So I mean, the next big thing, Deontay Johnson getting a 2-year, $36.71 million extension. This will keep him in Pittsburgh for through 2024. Do you care? Like, I know that sounds so bad, but does anyone care?
Yeah, it doesn't affect it for fantasy. You're either in on Deontay Johnson and his value. We say this a lot in the industry that targets are earned, and I think Deontay Johnson has done a hell of a job earning targets. Mm-hmm. But I think the narrative that's been spoken about Pittsburgh for all offseason is that no matter who's quarterback, it will be an upgrade from Big Ben. And the problem I have with that is we don't really know that. I think that we could be in a situation, especially with some of the news coming out this week about Trubisky not looking good and yet still being ahead of Pickett, which means how bad is Pickett?
Yeah.
And we've also seen these get blown out of proportion. We've had Jamar Chase drops and, Justin Jefferson can't beat man coverage, all this bullshit. But I will just say that I think it's not a good sign. And I have worries about this offense. And it's just, I think sometimes you can get value on these bad offenses. Like, I think sometimes we can pick the right offense to rebound. And I just rather put that in offenses like Detroit or the Giants and so I've just been fading Steelers, to be honest with you. Even Najee Harris, to an extent, I don't take a ton of, because I think he's one of the safest backs in the first round, hands down. But I just argue, what is his ceiling? What are we really, you draft him, you're going to get that surefire deal, but, he
held out for this. Like, I'm sorry. Like, it is smart on Deontay.
I don't want to besmirch him too much because he saw what happened to Juju. Yeah, right. I agree. He literally watched Juju. Yeah, and Juju gets crap money. MVS got more money than Juju. So
but here's the thing, and that's another fun conversation for another day, because I still think Juju's going to get more targets and everything compared to what MVS got. But if you look at MVS's deal, it's really not a 3-year deal. It's a 1-year deal. They can cut him next year, and they don't lose anything.
It's true, but he's also got more money in the second year too than
but they can cut him. But that's
they could cut him.
They can cut both of them. They don't care.
And that. Yeah, they might. It just depends. Like Sky Moore's progression will depend. I think
Sky Moore will. Yeah, I agree with that. I really do. Yeah. And I know Ross is big on. He loves Sky Moore over there, and we did love Justin Ross until he fell.
Oh, dude, I drafted Justin Ross in the last round of my rookie Dynasty draft and just put him into the IR when that news came out.
Oh, dude, I did it in Scotty Fishbowl in the second to last round. I was very upset.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
That's what you get for being the 5th fastest done, Mike.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
might have
dude,
been
we
able to
went
ride that thing
fast.
out.
Hey, don't
You
you
might have-
know, like,
You might have been able to ride that out.
Mike, nice guys finish last, Mike.
I've
on,
always
dude.
been that way. Come on now. I'd rather be the nice guy than the asshole.
Yeah.
Classic.
Classic, he says. So I wanted to point out and just kind of pitch this one to you. We got Daryl Henderson going at 11-6 to CD's nuts. Yes, it is a way for me to just say CD's nuts again,
Yes.
but I do want to ask about Henderson because I've just liked Henderson.
Yeah.
I've liked Henderson since since college, but I also like Akers. I love the offense. Akers, obviously, with the Achilles thing. Where are we at? I think the gap has just been too large between Henderson and Akers, and like there's value in him, and he wasn't being treated that way. Do you think that this week just kind of shortens that up a little bit?
Yeah, honestly, I think it's more of to me, it feels more like a 50-50 split that they're going to be running. I mean, you had Akers at that top of the echelon until someone said
he was going to get it
Henderson
last year. I think he was going to get it last year before the Achilles.
Well, and everybody got it though last year. If you look at it, Henderson got it, then he got hurt. Sony Michel got it, then Henderson came back, and then Henderson got hurt again.
Yeah.
And then Akers got it down the stretch.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that McVay has said this before, but always ends up going with one guy. It's kind of like, it reminds me of one of those things like, you're gonna start eating right on Monday. Like you're definitely gonna start eating right on Monday, and then all of a sudden it's like, man, but I deserve a cheeseburger. I had a hard day, dude. Like I had a really hard day. And it's like, dude, yeah, we want to use both backs, but man, Akers deserves these carries, or
he's
Henderson.
already in there.
Yeah. So you got to, I already had half the burger. I might as well have a shake too.
Finish it off.
Yeah.
I see it. I mean, I
like him for his value. Yeah, I mean, I just like him for his value. I think he's
he's got juice too, man.
Yeah,
no,
he's only 24 years old. He's up there with, I think he's up there with that Hunt Madison, type, super handcuff that may have some standalone value, flex, appeal.
Well, that's a take there.
No, I definitely think he's better than guys like Madison and stuff. And the only reason why I say that is because apparently, I think it's Jeff Mans that I listened to that said this. Alexander Madison is running with a brand new offense that he's never ran before, and it's an outside zone run scheme that he does not run well in. So it's one of those things where he used to be, because the system that he was in was better. So for me, that was Henderson's problem to start too. Henderson, because I loved Henderson come out of college. He had just great tape out of Memphis. Like he just looked electric. He looked fantastic. Yeah.
And then he got in the NFL and just could not pick up the zone scheme right away. Yeah. But pointing back, so there were 10 of the 12 games where Henderson was working as the feature back. He averaged just under 17 touches, 82 all-purpose yards. He scored 8 touchdowns in that time, and he had 7 top 20 PPR finishes.
Yeah,
RB 13 in PPR in those 10 games. That included a bye for him.
Are you trying to sell him to me? Because I already bought him years ago. You
sold
me the last time.
I'm just trying to get
people.
I'm trying to get a little. Yeah, I'm trying to get a little awareness here out for Henderson, so that I don't have to draft him in drafts and get my heart broken.
Dude, anytime that I come on anytime I come to mock with you guys, I always try to grab the guys that I know that you want.
Yeah, you're a shark, dude. Pissing me off.
Well, and I do it on purpose because I that take about Henderson has literally just stayed in my brain and hasn't stopped. So for me, I've just been really high on him as one of those late round guys that we're looking for. I mean, Ross has been literally stuffing this whole philosophy that he keeps hearing from Ron Stewart down my throat about the concept of, picking your wide receivers from, the third to fourth round all the way through to the 8th round. And he
avoid that RB dead zone,
just that whole dead zone, just to avoid. And you know what? It's just every time I hear it and every time I see my team, I go, I like this so much better. So I'm slowly changing a little bit, but I can't. It's so hard to get off the builds that I used to.
Well, yeah, you're classic Mike. You can't go away from
the change.
New gen Mike.
You're going to be
Oh
the
my
only
God.
guy I've ever known to have 6 running backs through 4 rounds. Like, I
Oh
just
my
don't.
God.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's
you
how I
do it.
started the beginning of the year, and then I've changed as I've gone.
I have gone again back and forth on the dead zone because
Right.
one, I think it's a little bit of a catchy term that we've phrased, but like I listen to a lot of JJ Zacharyson, and he's one of the guys who's done a lot of work on the dead zone and showing those numbers. And he rightfully so has said, look, we have numbers to prove that the dead zone exists. And that's true, except for we have had we've been bereft of running back talent for a few years, and that's why we're seeing all these older guys that are really good. Yeah. So what I mean by that is we had a dry spell of running backs for a while, right? We had bad classes with like Carlos Hyde's draft class or like some of these other classes. I think the class right before that was really bad. So now we've got a situation where we've got Derrick Henry, who's older. We've got Zeke Elliott, who's a little bit up there, getting up there. We've got Fournette and Connor in the 4th round in this draft, and it's like, oh man, like there's, we've got Javonte Williams, Breece Hall, and Travis Etienne, all electric, great profile running backs, all probably splitting time, at least to start. And yet, I'm not scared off enough of these guys. Like I'm just not. Like they just have too much upside. And I think that's the biggest thing is we're getting true. Like last year, our dead zone backs were like, or was it last year or maybe the year before? But like last year was Mike Davis, right?
Yeah.
And you're like
Mike Davis.
Mike. Yeah, I remember being like, I could have been sold
on him. Yeah.
Well, I wasn't too high on him, but I remember being sold on volume. Like you could definitely make the case for volume, but it's like with these guys, it's not just like the case for volume we could make with some of them. It's like,
they're splitting carries.
and they're the rest of them. I mean, I guess in Atlanta it was the same thing. If we would have looked at Mike Davis versus James Conner, it's kind of the same setup, except for, Cordarrelle Patterson versus Rondell Moore. Maybe Rondell Moore would take snaps at running back if Conner got hurt. I don't know. Like, I don't know to the extent that I'm talking like
I get
Patterson.
No, but that makes sense. Patterson, though, in the beginning just didn't make any sense to people to think to draft because he's always the kick returner. Like he was always that guy. I remember when I kept him in my keeper league because like he had the one good season, his like second or first year. I forgot what year it was. He had like a really breakout season. He did well. And I'm like, I'm keeping this guy. And then all of a sudden he screwed me. And it was the worst keeper pick. Well, actually second worst keeper pick. Because if I say it's the worst, everybody in my league will just, come into the comments and just start, ripping me a new one.
Albert talking about Gaskin in the dead zone too last year.
Oh yeah.
So it's like the difference in like, I get that the numbers say this and you're right. If you crunch them and you look at it, the problem is the context. We have way different running backs in the dead zone now than we've ever had. And I would say that the dead zone starts is more along the lines of like
Gibson.
The David Montgomery and the Gibson and the, Cam Akers and J.K. Dobbins.
Okay.
I think all of those guys, I might take a stab at one if I've made my fill of wide receivers, at the back end, if one of them falls a little bit. But Elijah Mitchell, I think, is another one you could kind of toss in there.
I have one to throw to you. Akers, Montgomery, or Gibson. Who are you picking?
I'm taking Akers.
Okay.
I like Gibson. I think he probably profiles better than Cam Akers, but Cam Akers could suck and still score 15 touchdowns. Like he could be god-awful, but in that offense could fall in for 10 to 15 touchdowns. And I think that's the difference. We're not making that case for any like Gibson or Montgomery. And now Montgomery taking special team snaps is just like the most ridiculous, scary shit ever weird. If I'm a Montgomery truther.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. I mean, they brought up the concept this week that Khalil Herbert might get more run this year than people think, and
Khalil Herbert's good, man.
I don't disagree. Good. He had to take over for Monty for a brief stint, so it's not like he can't handle the load, and he did. So it's one of those things where you definitely those running backs that we just mentioned. Would you rather have one of those three or a guy like we've talked about all year, Cortland Sutton or Keenan Allen or DK Metcalf or Mike.
Well,
Williams.
now you can't get Sutton anymore. And with
No,
the Tim
you can't
Patrick
get-
news, you're not
no,
gonna.
You're not gonna get him past me.
Yeah, you won't get him anymore.
You
I
won't
won't get him anymore. I'm just saying that to you, like, because I'm projecting right now, because I'm probably never going to get him again.
Never. Sorry. Like, it's just not going to happen. I mean, the Tim Patrick news, for all those who don't know, Tim Patrick tore his ACL and he is out for the season, unfortunately. I was really high on Tim Patrick and for his value and for about 10 other different things. He was just a really good receiver. I thought that he could really do things this year, and I'm a little upset that he's down. One bit of news that we found out today was Mike Evans, really made people hold their breath real quick. He left the field early this afternoon, and it came out later that he had a slight hamstring injury. As per Jordan Schultz I forgot where he is. It doesn't really matter. One of the reporters there said it's nothing major.
A shout out to him.
Yeah, I'm just going to shout him out, but I don't know where I just saw his name on it and I just kind of ran with it. But right now, the other bit of news from Tampa Bay is the concept of Chris Godwin actually at practice. Now, of course, he's not practicing at 100%. He's at practice. Big difference. You guys, Travy, you guys had Dr. Irwin on and he discussed the whole thing with ACLs and, coming back into this. Are you investing in anyone else in this offense other than, Mike Evans and Russell Gage? I mean, is it even worth going into someone like Chris Godwin?
Well, Godwin's trying to
Julio take in there too.
Yeah, I mean,
I even forgot about Julio.
So yeah, So Dr. Edwin Porras, you guys can follow him on Twitter. He's got great stuff. He works over there at Fantasy Points. He's at fantastic. FB Injury Doc. We had a whole episode on it, so check it out. But essentially, he was saying, like, there's a bare minimum that Godwin would be out. That is not anything less than that would be reckless, maybe, by the team to do. The other thing that he did say, though, in all of this, and it's not a huge caveat, but the medicine is changing as we evolve from this thing. This stuff is changing. I mean, it looks like Godwin's on a mission to and Godwin and James Robinson are on this mission to shatter our expectations and prove all these guys wrong.
Not being on the pup.
Yeah, it's just wild. So we'll see. There's still a chance that he could, that Godwin could end up on the pup to start the year, like the actual, regular season pup. I don't think that'll happen, but that's a situation that you have to monitor there. But him practicing is great news, and I think he becomes kind of worth it in that sixth, maybe seventh round range, sixth round range.
Okay,
because we know he's really good. And so maybe you got to take a bath on the first month while he gets his legs under him. But I think after that, you'd be looking really good. As far as Julio, I think Julio's got upside. Do I think it's the same upside AB had in this offense? No, because I think AB was a full-time player. And I have a hard time wrapping my mind around Julio being a full-time player in this offense.
Okay.
And Russell Gage, I mean, look.
The guy can
Russell Gage can't hold Julio Jones' jockstrap. We know that. They're totally different specimens.
Weren't they
wide
teammates
receivers
at one point?
Yeah, they were. Yeah. But that being said, I think Gage is going to work as the primary slot and be on the field more than Julio. And so I'm still in, and I actually like the dip that we're going to get from our guy Gage. So he's the guy I'm investing in. Evans got steamed up. I like that he had the hamstring this week. Maybe bring him down a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think I can't fault you for taking him even where he was going, because he could easily score, again, not to use this again, but 15, 20 touchdowns this year. It's unreal in that offense. And without Gronk, you think he's going to look to Evans less in the red zone? I doubt it, dude.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, it makes sense.
That's why Brady's like my QB5 right now.
And Adam Levitan of ETR was pointing out that they had worked to keep Mike Evans' 1,000-yard season streak alive. That was important to Brady and Evans.
Yeah.
So it's stuff that's out there. And this is a team that does that. I mean, look at the stuff with Gronk.
I remember at the end of the year.
They sent Gronk back out there. That's stuff they do.
Yeah. I like Gage. I like Evans. I'm going to just stick with those guys.
I'm taking pieces of that offense. I mean, that's what you want.
Yeah.
I can't invest in someone that I know that's not going to be on the field for a good amount of time. I can't I can't do it. Like for me, I can't wrap my head around drafting guys like Godwin, Gallup. I just can't do it because I can't.
Gallup's like I
Gallup's
would
a
have
little bit
agreed with
farther.
you 2
Yeah.
weeks ago. I would have agreed with you 2 weeks ago, but Gallup's a totally different case now than Godwin, who, it should be around the same, but
Yeah.
Godwin's pushing, man, and maybe, there's some dogs out there. We look at Cooper Kupp. It took him a little bit, but then he said he said his knee was better, like afterwards.
J.K. Dobbins, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
or stronger. And like, how could we argue? He had the best receiver for the season for a wide receiver ever. So,
yeah. You know who else is a dog?
Who's that?
Davis Mills.
Yes, baby. Let's go.
Did you guys hear the interview with Tunsil?
That was
like,
awesome.
Yes,
so
dude.
How do you feel about how do you feel about your QB?
Dog.
They were like, what do you think that Davis Mills has brought to the team and shown you guys?
Yeah.
Dog.
So
great, dude.
That was
awesome. It was great.
100%. He's got that dog in him.
So
he's also got the longest neck.
I was going to say,
he beats out Mike Lennon now for the longest.
Oh no, I hope not, because that guy Glennon's got a neck. And little side note, I don't know if you guys have ever noticed in Underdog Fantasy. No, I was going to say that he's still listed as a Giant, and he doesn't play for the Giants anymore. I think he plays for, oh God, where did he go? He went somewhere else. He's not on the Giants, but they list him as a Giant. I think that's hilarious.
See how Mike does it? If they leave the Giants, he doesn't even care anymore.
No, get out of here.
Like that.
No, I will only buy Giants jerseys of Giants like Hall of Famers or Giants that are lifetime Giants. Guys like, Toomer. I would do, Strahan, of course. Guys like, anyone that's been a lifetime Giant. Those are the only jerseys I want. Like those. I don't give a crap if you were here for a minute. Thanks. Goodbye. Like, no.
Classic.
Yeah, it's classic.
I mean, I can't say shit
so many times I want to be like, man, Classic Mike just sounds like my drunk uncle on the couch. Just like, man, I would have had these fools running laps. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Well, you want to know something funny? I'll love a guy like Bavaro who ended up playing for another team, or Carl Banks who was drafted by another team. Like all these guys, as long as they like finish their career as a Giant and they like that's all you see them as a Giant, I'm good.
There you go.
Anyway,
well, we made it the whole time without even really kind of mentioning anything about the draft, which was awesome and weird at the same time too. But I was watching it.
I've been watching this whole time.
I know we all been checking it out. So I love what you guys did, man, on the podathon or mockathon. The whole toaster
roaster toast,
yeah, man.
Fun.
So that was cool. It was really cool. So
Johnny.
So I don't know if since you're the guest here, how about you roast or toast?
Yeah, because we can't say anything.
Here. Yeah,
you're not allowed to say nothing, huh?
Yeah.
Let me check it out really quick here.
Yeah. I mean, these guys, a lot of these guys, like we said in the beginning, these guys are a bunch of sharks. They really did a wonderful job, from what I can tell. I'm looking at teams and I'm like, holy
what's
crap.
the roster construction too?
So it's 3 wide receiver, it's 1 flex. If memory serves me, we're doing 6-point touchdown.
Yes.
Is that the whole 6-point passing touchdown? So kind of keeps everybody level. Other than that,
just PPR redraft. Yeah.
Regular PPR redraft, yeah.
All right, so I got a toast here.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
I really enjoy FF Taj 1.2.
FFTAJ.
Oh,
FFTA. Like I think he knocked this one out of the park. So mostly in Superflex, I'm a little bit of a QB slut, so I'm going to look at your QBs first because it's so much of like an advantage to get it right. Obviously, that's why we're doing it. Herbert and Brady both could finish top 5. I think Herbert could finish as the number 1 overall, and then you're looking really, really good. We talked about the offense wanting to invest in it, and the Chargers are they're teed up to go nuclear. Now they could charger it up and not, but they're teed up to do that. I love
Herbert.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones too. Like I think people are absolutely sleeping on Daniel Jones's upside. Yeah. Well, we know you do, Mike.
Come on,
of course. Come on. But he may not be able to dance. He may wear khakis and polos and tuck in his shirt like classic Mike.
Come on now. I will say one thing. I do not tuck in my shirt.
But Daniel Jones has wheels. And I think he's actually faster in a lot of metrics than these other, rushing quarterbacks.
As long as he can hold himself back from not tripping over. Yeah.
Turf monster.
So Ron saying, yeah, that's who he had too. And yeah, I mean, this team, like you look at Diggs, you look at AJ Brown and Allen, like I may not have been taking a lot of AJ Brown, but to get him as my second wide receiver and I got Diggs, like I think it's a little unfair that he was able to get this wide receiving core.
He got Allen too on the other.
I mean, look at ARSB and Olave late. Like he doesn't have to require these guys, but those both could smash this year. Yeah. The running backs are a little bit weaker than I'd like, but man, are they good. And both can hit. Like Dylan, something happens to Jones, Dylan. Top 5 upside. Akers, I think, has top 10 upside just by being in that offense. I would have liked to see some more depth at running back, but again, I think this team smashed. I think top to bottom, it's really good.
Nice. All right.
Well, there you go. And as we established earlier, it means absolutely nothing. So don't get your hopes up, my guy.
Congrats for nothing.
It means nothing. Absolutely
this
nothing.
Means nothing.
It doesn't matter what what Travy said.
It doesn't matter what he said.
But go ahead. So that's the toast, man. Good job, AJ. He's feeling it. If he had a say in it, it sounds like you'd be towards the top of that one. And obviously, all these guys here placed top 3 in their respective drafts this week. So they know how to flow. They've done it.
Yeah, they're working you guys.
So,
yeah.
This is a tough one. I'm already.
I gotta roast this Lord of Fanta though. First of all, great name. Love the logo, but just hate your team, bro. Sorry. Eckler. So I love Eckler, but he's an undersized back that they already are talking like, I need to get less touches. Not great for fantasy. Derrick Henry, so many touches. Now, I love the big dog. That's the best part of your team, no doubt, your first 2 picks. But then we're kind of going off the rails here. I love Lawrence. Think he can be good. I wouldn't bet on it. He changed offensive systems. They don't have a true alpha wide receiver. Like they're counting on Christian Kirk to be their wide receiver
slot guy.
Yeah,
I'm talking to a guy that I disagree. I think he.
Well, I know.
Him and Marvin, man.
Listen, if he just Mike's like, hey, if he just works hard and proves himself,
if he just gets catches and yards and
then maybe he could score points. Yeah. Debo Samuel, I think, is a dog, but he did some absolute banana stuff as far as advanced metrics last year. That has to regress. Mike Williams, I think, could blow the roof off of it, but has never stayed healthy all year. I mean, he had a better season than Kupp through the first month, but then obviously the knee injury.
I remember that. Yeah.
Darren Waller, I love, but we talked about it in the chat. Ron pointing out that he's probably the best bet to miss. He's probably the best bet out of the 3 of the Raiders players to see the most damage. So, and then Winston, Garoppolo, who's not really a starter anywhere right now. Drew Lock, who's losing the job to Geno Smith. I mean, their quarterbacks, brother, are just.
Lock took some first team reps this week.
They're not good. Yeah. Well.
Hey,
we'll see, man.
He did in Denver, and that got him to Seattle. So.
And then it's just like these backup wide receivers. You only took 2 of them. You're starting 3, which means you have 4 on your roster. You're only starting 3 of them, and 2 of them are Adam Thielen and Alan Lazard. Like, bro, I'm a Packers fan. I can tell you right now, I don't know about Alan Lazard, bro.
Really?
Interesting. Now, I want you to dig deep into this. Like, why do you think this?
Well, I mean, let's just be honest. Alan Lazard's never been a number 1 wide receiver, and he hasn't really done it as a number 2 or 3 wide receiver, which means he's never really earned targets at a huge rate. He's never really beat all these coverages at a huge rate. I think this offense is going to go drastically more run heavy. I think it's what LaFleur's probably wanted since he got there, but the personnel now dictates it. I think if anybody's going to benefit from Devontae Adams in the receiving realm, it's Aaron Jones. And I've been saying this all offseason, and I continue to say it. I think he's the one. But yes, A.J. Dillon can also catch passes too. Robert Tunyon's been a touchdown guy for Rodgers. So there are other electric players in that offense already that I think would have a leg up on Lazard. And you could talk about how he trusts him and love him, but I've heard my man Aaron
solid.
Rodgers come in every offseason and say MVS is the next big thing. Jermichael Finley is the next big thing. And it just doesn't pan out. These quarterbacks do this. They love a guy, and then that guy can't get it done. He's not able to get it done. So Lazard is not that dude for me. I think he's a fine role player, but I think we need a little bit more, obviously, than that.
So then who do you like in this Packers offense? Because I know that Dobbs has been getting the
at cost.
I
think at cost. I think at cost I take. I think I take at cost. I take a little bit of Dobbs later, a little bit of Cobb later.
Okay.
Like you realize Cobb has like that old think 5 years ago James Jones touchdown upside. Like that's possible for Cobb because he loves him so much.
James Jones.
Yeah, so I think that's possible. Tunyon's another one I've been as long as he can get back. As long as he can get back healthy, I think he could score some touchdowns. What did my guy say here? It's cool, bro. Just keep kicking me in my nuts. Yeah. Sorry, brother. Well, Ron's doing it too. He's over here talking on you.
Believe me, they will. Yeah. I mean,
they'll rip you apart. All that being said, this team has an unbelievable ceiling. We know that. I just I could not walk into week 1 with this roster.
Okay. No, that's a fair assessment. I don't hate it. I see what you're talking about. I'm a little higher in Eckler. I love Eckler. Eckler's good for me.
I'll reiterate. I love Eckler as well. And the big thing with Eckler is we're talking about his touchdown regression and like, can he score 20 touchdowns again? Yeah. He plays for the Chargers.
Yeah.
He definitely could.
And go for it on 4th
so
down.
I don't hate Eckler. And like I said, I think his first 2 picks are his best picks. I thought that was great, but let's see what he had here though at quarterback too. Like that run went nasty on him, and that's why we say in these super flexes, I want you coming with 2 quarterbacks out of your first 5 rounds.
No,
I just think that's the way you have to attack super flex.
I say even 2 out of 4. I'm not even as generous.
But at the bare minimum, I'll give you 1. Like take 1. Yeah. Because then like you could get Winston later, and I'm liking your team a whole lot more, bro. Like if you go Hurts or Stafford here instead of Henry, I'm liking your team a whole lot more.
Yeah,
and you're just giving yourself a better chance at weekly points in that realm.
I agree. I mean, for me, like in my Scotty's Fishbowl, I waited on quarterback. Like I went Herbert first round. I waited until I think like the 9th round, and I grabbed Goff. And
like we've had this conversation.
You can laugh all you want. I still think Goff is probably Goffle.
I'm in on Goff. The problem with Goff is he doesn't run.
That's fine.
Well, it's not.
I don't care about the rushing floor. Jesus Christ! If Tom Brady can do it, anyone else can.
Goff's not for 5,000
okay, hold on a second.
Hold on a second.
And 40 touchdowns. That's
Mike,
the thing.
Mike, did you just say if Tom Brady could do it, then anybody could do it? Like only if the greatest quarterback we've ever seen could do it.
No, but you know what? Goff has the ability. Like he has the 3rd best line. In the league right now, rated by PFF, who is very good at rating, lines and all that shit.
I mean, I think he's a perfect upside QB too.
Yeah,
him and Jones, I think are in the same. They're in the same realm.
He could finish QB 13.
Yeah, I think that's with it. Yeah, I'd give you that.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying that he's like. I don't think he's in the QB1.
Well, you did just, you juxtaposed him with Tom Brady. So
maybe I think Tom Brady's going to be, QB 12 this year. Like,
well, there you go. TB 12.
Yeah,
there you go. Out. Never go running back.
It's so hard in these.
Not in the 12 spot.
Yeah, not in the. I would say definitely not in the 12 spot. This year, I've seen a lot of people
in the 3 or 4. Maybe you could get away with it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is like you're having to be at the end of a run.
Yeah.
And so I feel you though. And when we get those on those ends, what we try to do sometimes is zig when they zag. Yeah. And I thought the Eckler pick was fine, but like, yeah, I
hear you.
Maybe like this is this case where I'd be like, okay, take Watson on this roster. This is the roster you take Watson on. Like you don't take Jimmy G and Drew Lock. You take more wide receivers than these running backs down here.
Yeah.
I mean, this is something that Hayden Weeks pointed out to us, and it's more in best ball, but it makes a lot of sense even in redraft. So when you're deciding you're going to go, let's say, RB heavy, RB robust in a super flex. Well, that means you need to make up for not having the quarterback play. You didn't take an elite tight end in this range at all. I mean, you did get Waller to fall to you, but I'm not in the belief that he's part of the Andrews, Kelsey, Pitts tier.
Yeah, positional advantage to you.
Yeah, you need that positional advantage there. And did you load up on another, like, even taking one more running back here probably would have made your team a little bit better. Like you get Aaron Jones instead of Deebo Samuel, and this is all hindsight,
or
guys.
even
like I feel
Akers
bad.
or Mitchell, it doesn't really matter. Like anyone in that realm would have been fine, and then loading. And then
you load up on the wide receivers at the end. Yeah,
you could have ended up with. I mean, you could have gone with guys like Hamler, or even guys like, I don't know. Well, Tim Patrick got picked just because I don't know. Maybe it's a rest in peace thing because he's not playing this year. But I don't know, something like that where it just would have looked better, it would have felt better. I definitely agree with you there. But like I said, we're not judging it yet.
Do you guys have one that you liked here?
No, I don't like any of them. They are all horrible.
So my guy Mike says, no, I'm not going to toast anyone, and I'm going to go for the Hall 12-team roast here. I love it, dude.
Yes,
I love it.
They're all bad. They're all bad. No, but I'm the same way, man. I start with the QBs. I like to see at least one, nice, top 15 RB. I like to see, that nice receiving core. In a 3+1, I want to see at least 6 wide receivers on that team. And then you just, hammer that out and figure out your RB2 and your tight end and that QB3 later on, if you even grab a QB3.
I'm not going to roast you if you only get 2. Like that's my thing with Superflex. You got to have at least 2, but I don't care if you have.
Like you don't need to take Drew Lock. Like there's no reason to take him. Just grab it.
Man, we can't help but going back to.
I had to go back to him.
Yeah, we can't help it.
There it is.
I mean, someone like Dem Boys Jr., I mean, he only went with Mahomes and Goff. Like, that's something that, granted, to be fair, it's something I would do, and I would be completely okay with a team like that.
So, just for a learning experience or a thought experiment here, Lord of Fanta, right? We were ripping him apart and saying, like, if you go RB heavy, you want to make up for it up top.
Yeah.
Look at CD's nuts in 1.6. And yes, again, I wanted to say the name. I like what he did here. It's a 3 QB build. It's not QBs I love. I'm not a big Justin Fields stan, and it's not just my Packer homerism. Like, you're writing to him like you're Stan. I'm not a huge fan. So if we look at it like that with Fields, like that's fine. The 3 QBs going on. But look at what he did up top for the first 6 rounds.
I agree.
I mean, I love this roster construction so far. McCaffrey, Cook, Fournette, Lamb, Waddle, Robinson. Like, this is an absolute deadly lineup that he can then, rotate these guys in and out and then figure out his QB situation. Yeah. With the 3 that he's got. And then Hawkinson, not my favorite, but not terrible. Yeah. And so I think he did a good job of making up for going RB early.
Yeah, I agree.
Well done. Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, we'll definitely get to it. The winners of this, we're gonna shoot you out the invite to the main. You guys are gonna be the first 3 to make the September 2nd, I believe it is Friday, September 2nd.
Sure. Yeah.
Mock draft tournament of champions championship, the finale. It's gonna be great, man. We're running this for 3 more weeks. So if you guys know anybody out there, you yourself want to get in this, that's
going to be a real league too. Remember that. This is going to be in a real. We're going to be mocking it. We'll live draft it. We'll do the whole, live stream it, the whole thing. But it's going to be in a real league, real setting, the whole deal.
Absolutely, play it out. And again, the winner gets $50. So I just want to just real quick turn it over to you, Travy. Here, give you the stage for just one more second. Again, tell the people where they can find you, and what you guys got going on.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on, guys. And I'm Big Travy from the Fantasy Whispers. Obviously, we've been talking about it all night. A bunch of you are part of Whisper Nation here in the chat, rocking with these guys at Get Right as well. You can find me on Twitter at Big Travy TFW. It's right there at the @ and just look up the Fantasy Whispers on YouTube. We're going live 10 a.m. Pacific tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern for Best Ball Brunch. It's a brand new show we're launching tomorrow. Nice. We're excited. We're going to get into a best ball draft live on Underdog, so come win some money with us, rock with us. You can use our promo code, get some matched money. But the biggest thing you can do for me tonight is to continue to rock with my guy Anthony and my guy Mike here on Get Right Fantasy Network, because these guys are absolute studs and they're bringing it to you every single night. So they got a Patreon or a website or anything you can contribute and help them out. YouTube memberships, you do it, because these guys, hey man, they're out here grinding for you guys, trying to get you better. So let's do it.
Awesome.
Definitely
We
good,
appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
So without any further ado, man, we'll take this thing out again. I just want to say big thanks to Travy for
Of
spending
course.
your Friday night with us here. We'll
Appreciate it.
definitely, look forward to getting together here during the season, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yes,
of
sir.
course, Mike, always appreciate everything you do.
Yeah.
Of course, for Dustin, for Frank, and of course for myself. You guys enjoy your Friday, man. Enjoy your weekends, and we'll see you here again on Monday.
Later.
Peace.